Welcome to Deprogramming with your host, Teri Lynn, the show that explores mind control tactics used for millennia to shape our thoughts and beliefs. We dive deep with experts to understand the harsh reality of what is really going on and how to unwind the damage. Here's your host, Teri Lynn.
Hi, this is Teri Lynn with Deprogramming, and today I have David Weiss with me. But before I introduce you, David, and what you're about, I wanted to set the stage for this episode of Deprogramming. I wanted to use this particular subject matter that you are known for and knowledgeable about to highlight that the ability and willingness to entertain ideas outside of the current box of acceptance is necessary to deprogram your mind. And that's really what my series is about. The subject that we'll discuss is super taboo, and due to that, it actually speaks to its possible validity, at least in my mind. So here's the indoctrination program that I think we're dealing with here. This quote, "You need to listen to who and what we say is right." How convenient is that? That, to me, is a religion, a set of beliefs, not provable facts. So now I'm not saying that belief systems are wrong, and I'm not saying that we don't need them even as placeholders to function in society. But what I am saying is that if your belief system is disguised as a system based on facts, which in turn later turn out to be not facts, then you have fallen victim to programming. This is not free thought and is not critical thinking. So what I see now is I see people that have, I quote, authority reverence, who in a position of perceived authority is telling you what is true, saying they did the research and to just trust them. So who are they? We have to ask ourselves who they are and what do they have to gain. So I think we need to believe nobody and we need to look at the evidence for ourselves. If higher thinking skills are squashed, they'll be the exception, not the rule. And a rudimentary, even inaccurate rendition of anything will be readily accepted in that case. Everything we've been taught is turning out to be a lie, which is really an overwhelming thought for nearly probably every one of us. So welcome, David Weiss. You're also known as Flat Earth Dave. And I understand you've been doing what you're currently doing for a while. So I'll let you introduce a little bit about yourself.
Just like you, I'm a truth seeker and I'm not afraid to look, or at least I am not afraid to look now. My journey through, 9/11 and all the other deceptions was a very public one. I had a podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole where we broke all those down. And I made it all the way to Flat Earth. Neil Kramer does a great speech called The Stairway of Disbelief, which you can actually find on my YouTube channel, DITRH. And he talks about you start off with like JFK, right? Lee Harvey Oswald, that wasn't true. And then you step up to, other things. You get up to 9/11 and you get up to what's going on with the government and all of the trafficking that's going on, and then you make it all the way to the top where Flat Earth is, and that's not the end though, because there's more beyond Flat Earth, and once you get there, life is truly amazing, and it's fascinating. One thing Flat Earthers always have in common is we're never bored. We're never ever bored, and we barely sleep because we don't want to miss out. There's like so much to see. So if I answered your question, that's basically who I am. And, I went to college, worked in corporate America, left corporate America, started my own business. It's doing really well. And then I realized that the world is heading in a really bad direction. And if people don't remove their heads from their rear ends, we're going to go into some dark ages. And I figured, you know what, let me do what I can do to help wake people up. And luckily, I found a way that I'm able to do this, support myself, and use that energy to help unplug other people from the mental matrix, which we call the heliocentric system.
This is a huge topic, and I've been deep diving in it recently, especially. I started about 20 years ago with the fake moon landing in 1969. Anyway, I knew that was fake, but recently, in the last year or so, I've been looking at some of this here and there, but especially lately. But so, like this show, I'm not necessarily, you have a website that is pretty comprehensive, and I have just started to touch the surface of that.
Which website are we talking about?
FlatEarthDavePodcast.com.
FlatEarthDave.com. Okay, that's one. Yes, I have some more comprehensive ones. Well, they get the other ones go into all the topics.
Okay. FlatEarthDave. Oh, so you must have more. Okay.
Another one. It's you have to be a real truther to go there. It's called StopLookThink.com.
Okay, I haven't even looked at that one yet.
If you want to learn about flat Earth, which I recommend to do first, because that's the foundation of your world, and once you wake up to flat Earth, you can see everything else.
Okay, that's really exciting. Okay, so the one I just looked at was the FlatEarthDave.com, and that is comprehensive, at least about that subject. Has a lot of information on there, and just it takes courage to even look at some of that stuff, and it will kind of blow your mind. But I want to talk about the why. Why? Because I think that this is going to be the first barrier with a lot of people. Is they're going to say, why would they do that? Why would this whole thing be propagated? And so I want to talk about the why. Why, if it's a lie, it would be done, and why people would find it very difficult to digest when being forced to critically think after the facts are presented. Because this is, I believe, the biggest obstacle to even have people being willing to wrap their minds around that. They won't be able to see the mind control behind it, and they'll just dismiss it. So I'm feeling, and you tell me from what you've seen with people, is that people are going to feel automatically threatened. And usually that threat is always going to be a safety issue. And in this case, and maybe in general, in a lot of cases, safety of not being in the pack, not being in the safety of the pack, safety within their paradigms, their whole thinking systems that they have had up until this point in their life. Safety in their comfort zone, I think, is huge. Change would mean a threat. Change would mean they have to change a lot of belief systems, because one thing rolls into another, maybe changing people that you associate with. It's just a kind of a huge issue. And I think people in general are brainwashed into the idea that there is division, and so they just go with this division instead of looking into something as just being a fact. They want to just be kind of in this kind of fight against us and them kind of a thing. So what's your thought as to that initial feeling that people get, and what is really stopping people from finding that out, finding the truth out?
No, there's a few layers there. The first one is people are lazy. If you want to become rich, invent something that'll make people lazier, like delivering fast food to your couch. Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're lazy enough not to cook and shop, go, grow your own food, which takes even more energy. You want your fast food crap delivered to you. And that company is now $1 billion company or whatever it's worth. So people are lazy, and people want the path of least resistance. And the path of least resistance is just to memorize, regurgitate, and cooperate. And if you tell people that, hey, your whole entire foundation of the world and everything you learned in school is a lie, and now you have to redo all of that, that's too much. People don't want to handle that. Yeah, they don't want to redo that entire thing. It's too much effort, and it hurts their ego, their poor little ego. Oh my God, I've been lied to my whole life. I have to admit that too. It's too painful, too much energy. And then the other thing is, people are generally good. People are good people, and they couldn't even fathom some of the evil things that are going on in this world, when in fact, the evil things that are going on in this world are 100 times worse than the worst thing they can fathom. And so their brain doesn't want to go there because that's too painful, too emotionally painful, too scary. And they'd rather just live in their matrix, plugged into the BS nonsense system, and walk around and live their lives. Work, you work 5 days a week if you're really good. And then you get 2 days off. You can drink and watch sports and hang out and go out to dinner. And then you're back to work. And then you do this until you're too old to enjoy anything. And then you retire and die. And that's what they want. They want us to be good little worker slaves. Could you imagine if, right now, the elite, when I say the elite, these are the Club of Rome, United Nations, Bilderberg Group, all of these groups. And these are people that control us, but they're the puppets of the real controllers, which we don't even know who they are or where they are. They could be in the outer lands or who knows. And they control us with their monopoly money. Literally, our money is monopoly money. In the game of Monopoly, it says if the bank runs out of money, just get some sheets of paper and write some more money down and keep playing. Okay, and that's where we are. And so they control us. They don't need our money. They don't need money. They need to take our money from us. They need us to work for it, us to crave it, us to worship it. In God we trust, it says on the dollar bill. And the dollar bill, by the way, is the most satanic symboled object out there. There's like hundreds of satanic stuff on there. So they want us worshiping their God, their money, and they control us that way. Imagine if there was technology, which I believe that there is, that can pull electricity right out of the air. That would mean if you had an electric car, you'd never have to charge it or pay for it being charged. You'd never have to turn down your air conditioner. You can put it at 50 degrees all summer long in California and make it like an ice box, right? If you want. You can have the air conditioning on and the windows open just for fun, right? You can crank your house up to a sauna, okay, in the winter, and you'd never have to pay for it. Do you think that would change your life? Not having those ridiculous pleasures I was just speaking of, but not having to pay for free energy. Well, yeah, that would change everything. Imagine if you had all that, what that would free you up to do. Imagine if they taught kids in school how to grow food and live the way we're supposed to live, right? Most people don't realize there is no food shortage. There is no overpopulation. They just need to control us. And we're at a time in society right now where we can communicate worldwide again, right? In the early 1900s, we were very separated. I believe in the 1800s, there was worldwide communication. There's lots of evidence of that. And we're at a point right now where I think they're running scared. They're doing everything they can to cull the population. And the good news is they can't do it without our permission. And they can't force us to do anything, but people are willingly sticking their arms out. People are willingly complying with their nonsensical rules. People believe that other people have control over them when that's just in their imagination because they were told something. People believe they have to slave away at their job and then give half their money away. Okay? These are all belief systems that they have us in. And people are too afraid to look for the truth. So why the lie? It's about control. It's about, if you were the rulers of the world and you knew how this world worked, and it was way more than this, material-based system that they teach us, that we only can realize with 10% of our brains because we don't use the other 90%. Would you teach the serfs information that could challenge your authority over them? No, you wouldn't. You would give them the bankers, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. They fund the textbooks that teach us to be good banking customers, not bankers, right? They teach us how to be good slave workers. And, the best kind of slave is one, or prisoner is one that doesn't see the bars and thinks that he's free. Hey, vote for the left, vote for the right. It's the same monster, okay? It's all about control. And anyone that says, why does it matter? Why does the difference does it make? I still have to go to work? I don't have to go to work. I used to have I love my work, all right? But I don't have to go to work anymore, okay? But I'm working harder than I ever worked in my life.
And you love it,
But I'm doing what I love. I'm doing what needs to be done.
I'm wondering why and I have some answers to this. I have some thoughts why they would specifically lie about the shape of the earth. And that's what I think people are going to be stumbled upon before they even look into this, because they're going to say, why would they even do that? So there's, I think, some very specific reasons for that. Because honestly, if left to our own devices as human beings, we would never come to the conclusion that we were on a globe and moving, right? We don't have any evidence of that, even with our naked eye. Even ancient cultures knew it was flat and it was immovable. So these are things that we think otherwise are only because we've been indoctrinated into them. So why would the powers that be, the ones that are indoctrinating us, lie about the earth being a globe?
Again, why the lie is it's all about controlling us. It's all about stopping us from using our imagination. Our imagination creates our reality, but they have us living on a ball. They have us believing there's nothing else to discover. Okay, all the ancient civilizations before us, they all knew the earth was flat. So what does putting us in a on a ball do? It limits our ability to see beyond the edges. Okay, because there is no edge on a ball. You go round and round and round, and you're spinning in space in a godless, or distant God expanding universe of nothingness, where an asteroid could take us out. That keeps us in fear, right? Anything could happen. Supernova, aliens attacking us, all nonsense. So if you live in that world, you live in fear. You watch the news, and the news says that Putin might nuke us, and then every cell in your body is not at ease anymore. So it's at dis-ease. But then when you wake up to flat Earth, it's like taking the veil. It's the apocalypse. It's removing the veil over your eyes, and you can see that nuclear bombs don't exist. It's all just a fear. It's all a game of fear. Okay? So, they want us to believe that we're on a spinning ball because, if we knew that we lived here, right? Antarctica is the shoreline that surrounds us, okay? It's the land that holds our oceans in, right? And then if we knew that maybe Antarctica is only a couple thousand miles wide, and then out here in new oceans are other lands, more lands, extra land, extra territory, extraterrestrials. From where? The outer space.
Yeah, that's mind-blowing right there. When I saw that map, I literally had to take a little walk. I was like, oh my gosh, that changes everything.
Yeah. It gets worse.
I'm sure it does. My thought is that thinking that we're on a globe makes us feel like we're insignificant. That makes us feel like we're more significant.
What if it goes like this and there's more rows? Well, what's out here? What if this is the boundary of our pond going around here? And then what if there's other ponds?
I know.
Okay. What if there's other ponds like this? What if we lived here in this little pond, and 20, 30, 40,000 miles away was this pond, and 80,000 miles away was this pond. And these are all these ponds. They all have their own little circling sun. Well, we live on this extended plane, and there's all of these pieces of the plane. A piece of the plane is defined as a planet. Piece of the plane.
Ah, interesting.
And whether this is true or not isn't the question. It may be true, it may not be true, but it's scientifically possible. Outer space, a vacuum, a void of no pressure, with burning balls of gas and rocks with water and air on the outside adjacent to a vacuum, is scientifically insane. Not even impossible, it's beyond impossible. Okay? It doesn't work. But you have to have a leap of faith that that's the truth. And the stars never move, even though, we're corkscrewing through space at, we're chasing the sun at 500,000 miles per hour, and we're going around the sun at, 66,000 miles an hour. Okay. and we're spinning at 1,000 miles per hour, right? So this is the globe believers don't even realize that what they believe. They don't know that this is what they believe. Spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, faster than the speed of sound. Imagine being on a merry-go-round on the outside horse that's going 1,000 miles an hour. It's curving off your line of trajectory at a mile a minute. Okay? That's just the spin. We're going around at 66,600 miles an hour, a speed you can't even fathom. And we're chasing the sun at 500,000 miles per hour. But go out tonight, take a picture of the stars, put a note in your calendar to go out the same time, same night next year and in 10 years, and every star will be in the same place. How is that possible? It's not possible. And the idea that we can see these stars at these ridiculous distances is just insane. Light, when it attenuates outwards, it gets thinner and thinner and thinner until it's so thin you can't see it. Right? It's like sound. It spreads out until you can't hear it. Light does the same thing. And if you do the math, I'm not going to get into it because people just melt down. Polaris at 2 light days away, 2 light days. That's the time light travels in 2 days. Would scientifically be way impossible, way too small to see, and the brightness would be an issue at 2 light days away. But they don't tell us Polaris is 2 light days away, or 2 light weeks away, or 2 light months away, or 2 light years away, or 200 light years away. It's 433 light years away. That's, again, your brain just melts because you're like, I don't know.
And I think that's a tactic because those huge numbers we can't get our minds around. And so they're possibly using that to confuse us. You know,
how long is 1 trillion seconds? Do you know?
No. Wait, because I listened to one of your podcasts. Wait.
Oh, you did. It's 31,000 years. It's 31,000 years. The closest star is 25 trillion miles away. If you're going a mile per second, which no one has ever gone that fast, after 31,000 years, you're 1/25 of the way there. That's ridiculous. 100,000 miles an hour, which you can't even fathom. It would take you 28,000 years to get there, right? All of these motions, which we can't detect, we can't see, and if we look at that, what's this? It goes by at Mach 8.6, hypersonic sled track. Google it so you can hear it. Hypersonic sled track, Mach 8.6. We're orbiting 10 times faster than that, and we're chasing the sun 100 times faster than that. Again, your brain just melted. Go out in nature, and we see this.
But we're told that it's because it's such a big ball that we're not able to discern any of that, and people just swallow it. And I know I did. And you know, it's an indoctrination program from when we were little, and you have to have a measure of trust in the people that are teaching you, and so it becomes something that you just accept as fact. And I get it, and I get that's where people are at. But now that facts and truth are becoming more accessible, let's say, now it's time to really take a look at these things and also take a look at why they would do it. Because here's the thing. You mentioned earlier how you can't build truth on a lie. So if you start off with a lie of this, you can build all kinds of other lies and control systems on that. Makes you feel not special.
It makes you feel atheistic, nihilistic, atheistic. I learned that word today. I like it. Because I guess I was atheistic before I learned about flat Earth. And it makes you not see the creation, which means you can't see the creator. And it separates you from creation. And if you allow that to happen, you're very much more controllable. And the people that run this world, or claim to run this world, the powers that want to be, they want you to believe in them and do as they say. But once you understand nobody has control over you except in your imagination, it all changes. All the people that are waking up to flat Earth, they they unplug from the system and they realize, the magic trick is spoiled. They see the magician, but they see the man behind the curtain too.
I think this is either the or for sure one of the biggest deceptions ever. It exposes everything and everyone. When this becomes more and more well known, everything has to fall flat. Everything's based on this.
So this shows water spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, orbiting at 66,000 miles, chasing the sun, all of these curved trajectories. So it's the momentum, the line of trajectory is moving. Like get a plate of water in a car, drive 100 miles an hour, and fill a dinner plate up to the edge, and then have the car speed up, slow down, or take the slightest turn. What's going to happen to the water, right? This isn't showing any of that. But when we have a tiny earthquake, a little shaking of the earth, this is what happens in a pool, okay? Just a little shaking, not 66,000 miles an hour, dropping at free fall speeds and all sorts of stuff, and changes in momentum, speeding up and slowing down as we spin, as we move. It's absolute insanity. And this is what people just believe.
Again, I think it's a indoctrination of we know more than you and you can't grasp these concepts. The same as I think a lot of religions do, that you can't grasp who God is. It's just undescribable. He's undescribable. These doctrines are not understandable only to a small class. So it makes you feel stupid. And if we feel stupid and insignificant, then we're going to be in a position where we are much more gullible to ideas that really don't make sense. And we also we're not encouraged to critically think. So there's a lot of programs that are running to make this one, let's say, work, right? It's almost as if they're trying to hide things from us, right? Which they are.
They're trying to hide our true power. They don't want us to know that we're at the center of creation. They don't want us to know that we are part of the creation, that we are part of this living system, and that all of the things that we see are also part of this living systems, from the plants, trees, animals, rocks, land, and luminaries in the sky are all part of a living system, and we're all part of it. We're part of creation. They don't want you to know that. They don't want you to know that your thoughts create your reality. Every single one listening to this right now, look at your life. It's your fault.
Right. And so if we knew all of that, then we would be a force to be reckoned with.
Damn right.
And that's not a good slave.
Right. And let the slaves all get together and use their intention together. That is a force that can't be reckoned with, but they don't want that. They want to separate us, separate, divide, separate, put muzzles on their faces, poison them, do all sorts of things, shorten their lives, put them on, medications that change the chemicals in their body so they don't function the way they're supposed to. Tell them they only use 10% of their brain so they don't try to ignite or activate the other 90%. Teach them accounting and business management. Don't teach them vortex mathematics or sacred geometry. Don't teach them about our true history. Don't show them, all of the amazing stuff from our true past. Don't let them see technologies that can pull free energy out of the air like Tesla showed us at the World's Fairs. Don't let any of that go, because then we'll be unruly. They won't be able to stop us. We'll be like the people that went to the Iron Republic.
So all of this combines into the same thing of taking our power away. As far as division, also there's the idea that they are going to make flat earthers, which they call people that believe in not the globe, look like they're crazy. Look like they're tinfoil hat, wearing.
They're trying hard, and we're doing our best to show them, to wake people up. But here's the thing: the more they mention flat Earth in a good light or a bad light, doesn't matter, because people are waking up. There's a new Pinocchio movie, 2022. Some Pinocchio. Have you heard about it?
No.
Probably not, unless you have little kids. And in it, Pinocchio is talking to whatever the guy that made him or whatever, and they talked about the Earth. And they say the sun. They said in the movie, the sun goes around the Earth once a year.
Huh.
So they're sticking it in our faces everywhere, right?
Yeah, and that's not the first time. Yeah, I've seen other things with that too. Yep.
Yeah, I mean the Flintstones have a famous scene where they talk about the Earth being flat, but but that's mocking it. That's mocking it
That's mock. You right.
because they're cavemen.
Now, I've seen some of these renditions of what a flat Earth, looks like, and they're doing that on purpose. That look absolutely ridiculous. And so when people look at those renditions, they think, "Oh gosh, wow, that's really crazy." So we have to understand that that is part of the program to make this other side, and first of all make another side, but make this other side seem like they're crazy. I think that the truth is always usually somewhere in the middle of two extremes. So I think that's true in this case too. When I look at what the other quote side is saying, it looks like, I'm like, well, it's somewhere in the middle there on this continuum, probably more closer to this side, but we're not talking about something that's totally flat. And so describe it a little bit, because we're not talking about something that's totally flat and doesn't have any kind of, I've always envisioned it like a dome, right? And when I realized that that's kind of what we're talking about, I realized, oh, I was kind of on the right track, and I don't know how I got there, but that's kind of, to me, somewhere in the middle. There is a roundness to the idea.
Well, the way, here's a little example I made. This isn't any map of any sort. We live in a pond. This is Antarctica. It's the edge of our pond. And here, this is like 3,000 or 4,000 miles wide. Out here is another pond with another set of islands and stuff. And over here, here's another one, right? And maybe that's how the world is set up. We're here on a flat plane. Water tells us the Earth is flat. They tell us the Earth is 70% water. Large bodies of water are at rest, lay flat. They don't curve. The horizon is horizontal. And we can see farther than they tell us that we can see. So yeah, when I say flat Earth, flat is just a description of level and horizontal. Yeah, there's mountains and valleys and all sorts of stuff. But no matter where you put water, when it comes to rest, any large body of water at rest is level and perpendicular to the perpendicular to up and down. I had a brain fart for a second.
Right. And so talk about the Antarctic Treaty. What's that?
My brain melted for a second.
So talk about that, because, that's going to be a new idea for people. And so that is another tell that the Antarctic Treaty exists. And what keeps us from, go ahead.
So in the 1940s and 50s, they started exploring Antarctica, and Admiral Byrd reported that there was more land beyond the pole, which is difficult on a globe, filled with resources that no human has ever set foot upon, right? And that's pretty interesting. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, no one can go there, and a bunch of countries signed on now. Almost every country in the world is signed on. And no one's allowed to go to Antarctica, a place filled with resources, no animals, no plants. So there's no real environmental issue, right? No displacing, indigenous populations, supposedly, and filled with resources. Don't go there. Go to the Amazon, deforest that, plant palm oil trees, destroy the lungs of our planet. That's fine, but don't go to Antarctica. And then they set up bases all the way around. So if you try to go there, you'll get stopped, right? There's some fishermen tried to go there and or tried to just cross 60 degrees south, and they were stopped by military rather quickly, and they were turned around for no reason other than they were in restricted waters. They hear the guys, they went out, all of a sudden this destroyer shows up. I think they might have even sent a drone after them, and they're like, you need to leave this area right now. And they left. And that's long before they're even near Antarctica. They're not. They're 1,000 miles from Antarctica. Okay? They don't want anybody going there. I sometimes wonder now if Antarctica is really a full ring around us. It might be open. Maybe there's just places like at the tip of Santiago and off of Australia. I don't know if the land is connected all the way around, right? You have this old map, this Japanese map. I don't know. Is there an ice wall all the way around? Maybe there is. Maybe it's just frozen out here because there's no sun, but maybe there's other suns out here. I don't know. Anything beyond the shoreline of Antarctica is speculation. However, a flat plain with more land is possible and likely versus impossible, scientifically impossible, not even improbable, but completely and totally scientifically impossible outer space vacuum adjacent to a pressurized system without any dome is ridiculous.
Right. And that's what's so crazy is that the model that they're giving us is actually impossible. It's absolutely impossible when you look at it.
It's totally impossible. And if you look, Admiral Byrd, when he did one of his news shows before he mysteriously died of a heart attack, he's got a flat Earth map behind him with a clock. Because the Earth is a clock. The sun goes around once every 24 hours, right? Have you seen my app? The sun is the hour hand. It goes around once every 24 hours. It laps the moon every 28 times around. So the sun keeps track of the hours and the days. The moon keeps track of the weeks and the months, right? The sun will lap the moon and the phases keep track of the weeks and the months. There used to be 13 months of 28 days. And then the stars, the stars spin around slightly faster than the sun, slightly so that it takes a year for them to lap the sun. So right now, the sun is in this constellation, and slowly it'll drift backwards into the next one for about a month, and into the next one for about a month, and the next one that goes all the way around, and then till it resets. That's why the stars are always in the same position on the same day of the year every year, because they're fixed in the sky above us. They're not free, flying around like a crazy beehive.
That just reminded me of something. Well, before I get to that, I just want to talk about your app because I did see that on let me just write a note so I don't forget this other thought. I have seen that on the website, and I think that's super cool, but I haven't had a chance yet to look at it. So that's something that you developed and designed, correct?
Yeah, and the app, I developed it actually just so I'd have something in my hand when I'm talking to people. I wasn't even going to distribute it. And then everyone liked it, and I said, okay, I put it out there, and it was like, hey, can you add this, you add this, you add this? And now I'm putting a few $1,000 into it at a time, and I'm like, you know what, I was going to charge $3 for the app. And people love it. And like, do this, do that. And it's evolved so far. Like, we have a daily video every day right here. You tap on this, you get the daily video. Here are the archive videos. You have the frequently asked questions, right? So people like, well, what about Coriolis? What about eclipses? What about, why would they lie? These are videos that you won't find, that YouTube is hiding from you, right? Why are they hiding them? And then you go, this is the more resources pages, like our interview will be right here in the interviews tab. Here are 2 amazing TikTokers if you have a short attention span. Hit that button. Here's Glowbusters 24/7. Put that on instead of the news. You'll be a healthier person, okay? If you want to learn Bible stuff, if you're a Bible believer, if you're not a Bible believer, put on the 24/7 biblical channel. Amazing stuff. Whether it doesn't matter what your belief is, watch it and then learn. All sorts of stuff. The debunkers, debunking the debunkers, full-length movies, all sorts of amazing stuff. Here's my channel, DITRH, very short videos. All my videos are under 5 minutes, or most of them are. You want to lose your childhood, click this button. Balloon rockets. Forget it. Space is over, right? Then we have books, right? Amazing kids books. If you're a homeschooler, these books are amazing. They go with music. They're fantastic. Flat Earth Man and his songs. If you go back to the more resources page, Flat Earth Man's music's here. Watch his videos. They're hysterical for adults and children. And then he came up with a genius idea of to actually put them into books. So a kid listens to the song a bunch of times, loves it, watches the video, then he could read the book because the lyrics are there, the song's in his head, he learns to read in half the time. Okay? But then there's adult books, amazing books. Good.
Yeah, I was going to say that this kind of thing is good for deprogramming, because I always like to touch on that. So what can we do now? And so what you can do now is you fill your mind with what maybe at the time you might think is the other side, but with information and facts and things that are going to um, help you to get out of the indoctrination that you've just been subjected to. You can't really do it without it. You have your intuition, and you also have to have the knowledge and the facts. You can't really do it without having the knowledge and the facts, because you're always going to go back to your fear. You're always going to go back to your pack, your team, or your the way that you were raised, right? Your security system there, and your belief systems there. And so when you're learning something that's this huge, that's this different from what you have been previously taught, it takes a little while, and it takes patience to just keep at it, keep trying to find the truth, and to keep reminding yourself why you're doing it. On my own path, I've gone through a lot of phases, and there's been certain channels and certain people that I've had to listen to over and over and over again for a while, sometimes months, sometimes a few years, so that I could reverse the indoctrination that I was exposed to. But what I wanted to mention before was the Bible, and you mentioned that a little bit. I have a background in that, and that might be a stumbling block initially with people. But what's interesting is that the Bible actually supports the views that you're setting forth here.
There's the biblical flat Earth button right here. There's 200 proofs in the Bible. There's a whole bunch of other Bible stuff. Bible believer or not, watch these videos and learn something. Okay, but I never lead with the Bible, because there's a lot of people that don't believe in the Bible. And if you don't believe in the Bible, well, then what? Why are you bothering with that? There's plenty of real science that shows us that a spinning ball in a heliocentric space vacuum is scientifically impossible. So once you understand that the globe is a lie, then we could spend the time researching together and figure out what this place is. It's a level plane, but how it's constructed, how big it is, what's beyond Antarctica, what's above us, what the luminaries are, all of that is mind-blowing stuff. But again, it takes you, you have to not be lazy, right? When you look up at the stars, like, is that a burning ball of gas 150 trillion miles away? Or is that something else right here, close, right? This is one of my favorites here, Capella. You can see this with your naked eye, okay? But zoom in, what are we looking at? Doesn't look like what they tell us it is, right? It does not. And here's Arcturus.
What's fascinating is you would think that the people that actually study these in the higher education institutions would get the memo, somehow. Even pilots.
There's pilots that are speaking out. There's scientists that are speaking out. As a matter of fact, just today on the app, the featured video is a NASA whistleblower, the son of somebody that worked for NASA, who told him information, and then the father passed away already, but the son had cancer, and he contacted Bart Sabrell, the guy who made A Funny Thing Happen on the Way to the Moon, and he immediately got visited by men in black at his house. His house was broken into, and they said, "Drop this story," right? And then don't just drop this, or you and your wife and your kid are going to disappear. Well, this guy got cancer and realized he was going to die, so he made a video, made a deathbed confession, and he gave it to Bart. Yeah, he gave it. That's on the app. He gave it to Bart, and it'll be in the archive button after today, and then it'll be also in the moon landing button on the more resources page, which is the web button. And he basically blew the whistle. But the thing is, people that are sleeping, the real NPCs of this world, there's nothing you can do to wake them up, and they won't wake up. But there's plenty of people that are starting to see. They're like, well, how come no astronaut has spoken out? Yeah, a Russian astronaut and a Polish astronaut, I think it was Russian, spoke out and said the Earth is flat. No one's been to space, and nobody cares, right? But because the mainstream news isn't going to carry it, you have to go looking for this stuff, and they're hiding it.
Right. I was going to say, people that speak out, you don't expect to see that on the news, do you? So you have to find that information, and we have people like yourself and others that are compiling this information in a place where we can actually tap into it. But if you're in the matrix of things, if you're out there and you're expecting to find that stuff out, that's not going to happen, for good reason, because again, this is an indoctrination program, and there's a reason why they don't want you to have access to that information.
Right. And there's people out there that'll say, there's no one believes the Earth is flat. Maybe there's 10,000 people in the world that have fallen for it. There's over 70,000 people on my app that have registered on the Friend Finder that know the Earth is flat. And this is just a small fraction of a percent of the number of people out there. Right? All of these people, these are the people around me. I could tap on any one of these dots, look at their profile, send them a message. I could do a group call to everybody within 10, 50, or 10, 25 or 50 kilometers, whatever I set it for, and say, hey, I'm having a meetup at Saturday at Joe's Bar and Grill on 123 Main Street. And then 100 people show up. Okay? And here's the beautiful thing. The app is turning into a true friend finder, a true dating app, because in reality, once you're awake, other people that aren't awake aren't very attractive to you. So every single blue dot on here is a potential best friend, possibly a romantic interest. Who knows? And there's already people that have gotten married, people that are having children because they found each other using the app. And this is just the beginning. We're just starting. So we're using their technology against them. It's bringing us together, right? Where are you located? What state?
I am in Arizona.
So let's take a quick look at the United States, and we'll go like Arizona is somewhere down here. Yeah. Where are you? Kansas, Arizona is to the down here. New Mexico, here we are.
Find me some friends.
Where is it? You got some people down there. Yeah. So they're out there, they're growing, got a lot of people in some areas, and it's growing really fast. And the Friend Finder, by the way, is taking a huge upgrade. At the beginning of October, it's going to have video calling, it's going to have groups, it's going to work instantaneously. You're going to have it sending messages. We're going to have you can send pictures, voice memos, all sorts of stuff. It's going to be off the hook, amazing.
I think that's really important as a part of the process, because to talk to others who have the same kind of journey and eventually have the same beliefs is important. We need community.
We're having an event in South Carolina on October 20, 21, and 22 called Flattoberfest. And it's going to be amazing. Hundreds and hundreds of us and everyone there. It's just such an amazing, energetic time. If you want to, you can find it at flattoberfest.com, or if you hit the shopping cart button right there, and up comes, it'll load in a second. I just loaded the app. It'll come up, and there'll be the information.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So let me just check my notes to make sure I've covered everything that I wanted to. The pilot thing was interesting. I did see a pilot speaking out, and that was one of the tells, I thought. One of the things I thought of was, well, wouldn't pilots see that there's no curve? And, I'm wondering, the ones that don't admit that, I don't know what they're thinking. That's just got to be such deep.
Pilots and scientists right here. Tons of videos.
Yeah, there are people. It's just the ones that are very knowledgeable in those fields. It's amazing that they can't make the connections,
I mean, you never see a pilot carrying a globe into the cockpit to navigate by. They're all looking, at other things that, there's disclosed uh, CIA, Air Force, all sorts of documents that say, and NASA documents that say they treat the Earth as a flat, non-rotating plane. Flat, non-rotating plane.
Yes, I saw that. When you lie about the nature of reality itself, where you can go from that is pretty infinite. And so that's why I think that this subject here, this particular indoctrination program, is so huge. And once you believe this and they construct your whole reality of where you live, not even knowing where you live and who you are, and then they can bring in all kinds of lies and misinformation about who knows what. I can think of a few examples with extraterrestrials, UFOs, aliens, all that. Not that those are lies. I'm not saying that. But, they can construct a really big story. And unless you have the courage to, and you brought out a good point about laziness, unless you really want the truth, I guess, I don't know what to tell you, because you have to want it.
People just want to be able to, we've been programmed to, you get home from work, what do you want to do? Watch TV, go to a movie.
No, I don't. I don't get it. I don't.
No, not you. You're a truther.
No, I know, but what separates me? What separates me is that's what I don't understand is why do you want to just go home? Is it the laziness factor or what? Because
people like to be comfortable. People like to have fun. People like to not stress themselves. And, if you can entertain yourself, contain your mind with entertainment, you watch these videos, and a lot of the messages in many of these movies, besides programming you, are to believe in nonsense. They're actually programming you to help create a reality that the elite want. They want a reality of, why was it when I was a kid that we were forced to read Animal Farm and George Orwell? What was the other one? I'm spacing on the name.
That's a little bit before my time, but I remember Animal Farm a little bit.
It's a big one. It's a big, Animal Farm, and literally we are living in that time now. The one where there's stepping on your face.
The one where it was like a world war or something the Earth was.
No, that's War of the Worlds.
Okay.
That's being attacked by aliens, but that was programming also. It'll come. I was up at 5:00 this morning. I was on with an early show from Britain. So
cool. All right. Well, I really appreciate you coming on. Is there anything else you wanted to say before we say goodbye? Anything I missed?
Yeah, if you think Flat Earth is dumb, I'm offering 3 Bitcoins for 1 globe proof. The challenge is got to get the app. It's $3, right? If you want to send messages on the Friend Finder, it's $11 a year, but you don't have to do that to do the challenge. Watch the daily video every day for 2 weeks. If you want to speed up, you can kind of go backwards for 2 weeks using the archive button. And then if you have a proof of the globe, send it to me. You can contact me through my website. But before you do, you have to click the frequently asked questions button, make sure it's not answered there, which it probably is. And if you do that for 2 weeks, the chances of you sending me a proof, well, I'm not going to say they're 0 because you might send me one that you believe is a proof. The chances that you're sending me an actual proof, in my opinion, are 0, but you might have a different opinion. But the chances of you actually becoming a globe denier are in the high 90s, 90 percentile. So if you take the challenge, warning, you might become a flat earther. Yeah. And that's how you become a flat earther. Try to debunk the globe or prove flat earth. Try to prove the globe or debunk flat earth. That's how you become a flat earther. That's how I became a flat earther. Yeah, I refused to look at it. People that even suggested that I look at it, I banned them from our social media because they're too stupid to listen to our podcast. And then I was forced by a researcher I trust to look. And I watched a couple videos and I was like, that's interesting. Now I'm just going to find more information and disprove this nonsense. And for 2 weeks, I didn't sleep. I was looking and looking and looking. And at that time, it was easy because YouTube would just feed you video. Hey, check this out. This guy uploaded this video. Hey, this video. And all great content. Tons of great content was coming out. Now, Flat Earther puts up a video. Unless you're subscribed to that channel and not automatically unsubscribed, you have to go looking for it and you won't find it. Like, one of the greatest videos out there, one of the longest standing ones is, this is the name. And it had millions and millions of views. A Stranger's Guide to Flat Earth 21 Questions. That's a pretty unique title. You search that on Google, you're going to find all propaganda. Go on YouTube, type in the exact title of that, and you're going to get all their propaganda. Why are they going to put Professor Dave, who's not even a professor, at the top? You're going to get all this nonsense, and that video won't even show up. That alone is waking people up. Yeah.
So how long has it been for you that since you said you were trying to debunk it? How many years?
2014, 2015, somewhere around there.
Okay, so a really long time. Okay, so and then I'm sure you went through a process where you had to change paradigms of learning. You had to change the paradigms of beliefs, I should say, right? So you understand that that's kind of what people go through.
Well, belief is the enemy of knowing, right? If I told you I lived in Connecticut, you can believe I live in Connecticut, but you don't know it, okay? But then you do some research effort off the couch, or maybe on the couch, but with your laptop, and you find my friends on Facebook, you look around, you find my high school, okay, yeah, he lives in Connecticut, right? Now you know. But people believe they live on a globe, but they have no idea why. Why do you believe you live on a globe? Somebody told me. I wrote it in a textbook. They don't have any proofs. How fast is it spinning? I don't know. How fast is it orbiting? I don't know. How fast is it chasing the sun? What do you mean it's chasing the sun? Right? They have no idea. Can you have high pressure next to a vacuum without a container? What are you talking about? I don't know what you mean. I don't have a degree, right? People are so lazy and stupid, but they'll defend the ball for some reason. It's fascinating.
Right, but what I'm saying is that so when you have a belief system with so many other belief systems piled on top that are based on this particular system or lie, it's going to take a little bit. I want people to be patient with themselves too. It's going to take a little bit. This is still a process of learning all of those new things, because you have to change a lot of other things that you believe that are based on this, and that will wig you out if you try to do it too fast, and you might just get in a fear state. So all I'm saying is you probably noticed the progression of this change upon yourself, no doubt. And it took a little bit of time to drop the fear and be confident in the new things that you were learning, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was a little process, but I'm pretty, years ago, I would say, if you believe in God, you're a religious kook. If you believe in a creator, you're crazy. The earth is a globe. And I hate public speaking. I'll never get on a microphone. And now that's what I do. I get on a public microphone saying there's a creator. You're at the center of creation. And I'm talking about stuff that nobody, no normal, no normie, I don't want to say normal, person, normal people, normie people think is crazy. So I really don't have any fear. I have concerns about things, but I'm just doing my thing, and my life will go the way it goes. But I'll never, when my day comes, I'll know that I did everything I can to help wake people up.
Now, because you've evolved and you've grown into that, right? And so people just need some time and they need some support, and that's all I'm saying, is that the programming to reverse that takes some time. People just need to be patient with themselves. So that's we just acknowledge here. So,
right. So if you want to find all my social media, all my YouTube channels, all the good stuff, it's at flatearthdave.com. The app is there. Check out the app. Go read the reviews on the app if you're unsure. And remember, it's $3. You don't have to subscribe, but it helps if you subscribe. $11 a year. You bought me a margarita and you left a crappy tip for the bartender. And that's for a year. Also, in the new update that's coming out in October, if you don't want to pay for the subscription, you can do referrals. If you get 20 referrals, you can, 11 referrals, you can cash them in for a year subscription. So all you have to do is to tell 11 people to get the app. They use your referral code. Now you have 11 points. cash them in, you just bought a year subscription. Pretty fair deal.
I think it's pretty fair. Well, thank you for your work that you're doing, and I'm going to keep deep diving into all this because I'm super interested as of late, and I appreciate the way. And your website's really just the one I saw anyway. Was just really well done, and I love the store. I'm not one to wear clothes that has wording on it or whatever you call it, but I want like 20 of those.
Look, this is my most subtle one. Okay.
It is pretty subtle. Yeah. There's some, if anyone wants to give me a gift, go there. Cause, you got some really, really cool stuff there. So
you go in my store. These are fun ones, but another store, which is, Stefan from the Deftones. He's the guitar player. He's got this great hoodie. It's a heavy duty hoodie. If you like a good solid hoodie, and it's basically flat earther, and it's the best. Like when he first sent me one, I was like, oh man, that's crazy. Now it's my favorite sweatshirt. I wear it everywhere. And normies, total normies, they look at it, oh, that's funny. That guy's very esoteric. They don't get it. And other people go, oh, flat earther. Boom, conversation started. Okay. Yet the key is you have to let other people start the conversation. If you come at them, hey, the earth is flat, it's hard. But if they go, why are you wearing a flat earther t-shirt? And I'm like, well, what should I be wearing? A Glober t-shirt, or something like that. And then the conversation started. You have a good time, make it funny. And then, my favorite thing is, before we end, I'll hit the images and I say, you believe we went to the moon? Like, of course we went to the moon. I'm like, in this thing, right? Look at this thing. It's made from paper mache, tin foil, curtain rods, scotch tape.
It's the most crazy. When you really look at the evidence, it's the most crazy thing.
Look at this thing. Look at this thing. It's absolute insanity. Okay. It's so stupid. And then the conversation started. You planted some seeds, and then you walk away, and then they'll come back begging, tell me more. And there's all sorts of stuff. And there's some great memes. I have some followers that are putting great memes. Just go to the bottom. And memes are a great teacher, right? We were brought up on a meme that the earth is, we were brought up on this meme, told us it was real. This is nonsense. Okay. But, it's lots of great, it's worth it just for the memes. Trust me.
I had to laugh at the guy you had on I guess you were invited to that podcast, but the guy who said, what about cell phones? I was like, oh my goodness. Cell phones prove the earth is round. Oh, that made me laugh.
There's so many good ones, so, all right.
All right. Thank you so much, Dave. I really appreciate your time with me today, and we'll get the link out to you.
Thanks so much. See ya.
Control. So what difference does it make? It makes a big difference, because once they start omitting information or lying about information about where you live, they're doing it to control you. Period. Why am I having to explain this to critical thinkers in the truth movement? The way you control billions of people is to keep them divided and fighting each other. Flat Earth is not a psyop. Flat Earth destroys the psyop. Every psyop that's been used to control us for as long as they've known about it. So this system has been in power and control for hundreds of years, ever since they convinced the rest of the world that they didn't know where they live, and created this fantastical scenario to make people feel insignificant and to follow those that appear to know better. Why is the flat earth so important? Because it shows the deception. And if everybody would just come together and demand answers, they would be in checkmate. They would not know what to do.
Train up a child in the way that he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. I believe that's why we have so many who are indoctrinated to still believe and fight so hard for the heliocentric model. The reason being is because because we've been taught the globe model since before we had the ability to think for ourselves. Think about that. Before you could think for yourself, before you could form rational thought, you've been taught that you live on a spinning ball, although your five senses tell you something totally different. Our senses tell us that the earth is flat and stationary, that the sun and moon and the stars rotate above us just as we see, that they make their annual cycles in such a way that we can calculate days, months, and years of the passage of time, just like in Scripture. The earth in itself works like a well-designed timepiece, and we all know that any timepiece that we can think of has a designer. What if the lie is to hide the existence of that designer? What if they're lying to us about this because they're hiding God?
You've been listening to Deprogramming with host Teri Lynn. To connect to Teri or to check out our other shows, head to lifesource.global. And don't forget, hit the like, subscribe and share buttons. This show has been brought to you by Source Light Productions.